Let's get started. Good morning to you. We are on the fourth session and it's module 4. We'll have two sessions within that, session 1 and 2, and that's it. Let us indulge a little bit, and I'm going to take you for a tour of your eLearn page once again. A very important part of learning here is your access to eLearn. Once you access eLearn, you have to go to My Courses, and My Courses, you've got two instances of software architecture. One is called Courseware, and the other is the course by its name, S18 Ss Zg653. Now, let me open up both of these and let's take a look together, because if you have not seen it yet, it may be a little late. Let me see, Courseware software architecture. So I'm going to share my desktop with you so that you can take a look at what I'm seeing. Now, I get to see it slightly differently from you. So here it is. These are pre-recorded content by one of my colleagues. Excellent content. The slides are given, and you are expected to go through this content in league with the course handout. Besides this, there is another page which is called the course page, software architecture, and I will switch role to students so that you get to see over here exactly what a student is supposed to see. So here it shows you quiz 1, September 10th to September 20th. So this is the first thing that happens even before the midterm test. There's nothing like a course for a quiz, because you've got 10 days and you've got the internet. It'll be material relevant to what you have been studying, but it will be absolutely open-ended, so we will not entertain any discussion on whether a question was inside the course or outside the course. The internet is open to you. The whole idea is that we want to encourage you to do a little bit of time spending on the course. We want some active engagement in the course, so we have these quizzes. These are 5 maths quizzes. Almost anybody can get above 3 out of 5. A little bit of effort is involved, searching up the points on the internet, and you go ahead with it. So when you click, it will only open up from September 10th to 20th. At midnight on September 20th, it will be switched off. And let me warn you, the accessibility in the late hours become very difficult, so we encourage people to appear for it at least 2 to 3 days before the last date. Another thing to note about these quizzes is that wherever you are located, well, Kerala had floods, unfortunately. Unforeseen situations don't come with warning, and you could have an internet outage in your area. Your dongle may not be working that day. So any internet-based resource, it becomes too risky to try to use it on the very last day. So my suggestion is that please do this. Yeah, I've shared the screen. No, the quiz is not time bound, it's open-ended, and you can even appear for the quiz in installments. You can put in a few answers, save it, and on the final date it gets auto-submitted. On the 20th, if you have not submitted it, it will get auto-submitted. So even if it is blank, it will get auto-submitted as blank. It is objective. It's KBC style. Kaun banega crorepati? Only you could become a KBC crorepati here also. by virtue of your knowledge on software architecture. I'm sure some of my students here may be earning salaries in that range. If you are not, you can head for those salaries. So anyway, this is the quiz is just to motivate you to put in some effort towards the course, nothing else. Yeah. Yeah, you can pause the quiz, continue later. You can save the answers which you have answered so far, open it after 2 days and answer the remaining questions. The whole idea is that you should engage. Then there's an assignment. And let me see, yeah. Again, this will also open up only on the 10th, 20th. There's no submission, there's no grading. So you don't have to submit anything for this assignment. It's a very strange thing that people say, yeah, I come to the midterm syllabus step by step because these things come before midterm. So the whole idea of the assignment is all the exercises given to you in the course handout, you're expected to execute and you'll get no marks for it, no direct marks for it. Then, having gone through this, let us go to the course handout. Okay, now I'll go to the course handout a little later. There's an announcement page here, and I would like you to periodically check here because no, nothing is open. Your assignment is not open for students, quiz is not open for students. It will only open on the 10th of September, the 10 days left. Okay, now in this schedule, you know, the first time it came to you directly, but thereafter there might be some editing, so you should check your schedule from here itself directly. So here very clearly we have a lecture plan. So proceed as well. This is the master schedule given to us that BITS had said that these are the days you can utilize, but they allow us some exceptions. They allow us to take classes on Sundays. Some classes are scheduled for Sundays. Today we are sitting out here. We are on the 4th session, and next week we have got sessions both on Saturday and Sunday. Okay, somebody asked the question here, can we apply for makeup exam? Is there any difference in the examination paper in regular and makeup? Any points for guessing? I'm sure you don't even remotely imagine that you'll get the same question paper in the makeup. So I would like to answer this question. Obviously the paper is different, and very often the faculty takes into account that the person would have seen the regular paper, so it will definitely be nothing like the regular paper. And the chances are, on an average, I've been an ex-student of BITS and been involved for many years, the degree of difficulty is a wee bit tougher in the makeup. So, well, at least BITS University with Pilani allows you to take a makeup. Many universities you lose a year if you don't take the regular exam. So it's a blessing that there's something called a makeup. Okay. No more classes will be covered. The syllabus is static as per the course handout. I'll come to the course handout in a while. So, you know, these buffer sessions, the chances are I will take the buffer session. I'm supposed to take 11 classes of 2 hours each, 22 hours for this course. That's a quota. I'm fairly sure I will take 12 classes. I might take more also. So that we'll take a decision later in the course. But we are required to take 11 classes of 2 hours each. 22 hours is the dose prescribed for this course. So we might take something extra. Okay. Doesn't mean it increases the syllabus or reduces it. It only means we do a little more coverage in the class. Then something that I've done in this particular course, I have tried to put down the dates here so that you know when the classes are. 1st, 8th, 9th, 16, 22. As we freeze the remaining classes, we'll put those also in. But these are more or less frozen. So we know that these are the upcoming classes. So you could be mentally ready for classes as per this schedule. Now let's come to the course handout. Some of you may not have seen it yet. See, the course objectives are very clearly stated, and none of the objective states that you're supposed to get good marks in the midterm examination or the comprehensive. The objectives of the course are quite different. These are the books. I've suggested that for the midterm you purchase this book. Okay. For the midterm, you require just this book, text 1. References books, some of them are available online. You should download them. You will require most of them only after the midterm examination. Then we come to the course content, and no doubt you've gone through it. Today we are on module 4. And then you have module 5 on next Saturday. And then you have module 6 and 7 and so forth. And these are the learning outcomes. If you go through the course, this is what you hope to achieve. Okay, somebody says sequence of recorded lectures and handout is different from pre-recorded lectures. You go as per the handout. Whatever the handout says, you take the lectures as per that, because this has been prepared by the course author, and the examination questions will be set as per this prescription. So we go absolutely as per this. And in this particular course, there will be no deviation from the course handout. Let us not mix up announcements I make here and what I speak to you with other courses. Okay, so that's something I'd like to be very clear. People have given me doubts and difficulties based on what other teachers have announced. It's very difficult to keep track. There are a few hundred courses going on at Pilani. Let's not try to mix up courses. Now this part is the contact session plan. And the contact session plan is based on the course plan. And we come here. Contact session 1, contact session 2, contact session 3, and the recommendations of which recorded lectures you should watch. And these will constitute the syllabus. Contact session 3, today we are on contact session 4. Now, contact session 5, contact session 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that 10 scheduled contact sessions, and we may have additional contact sessions. We'll be having review sessions and things like that. Now, this is what you are expected to do in an assignment 1. Complete all these lab exercises. There will be no submission and there will be no marks. But you are urged that you should do it, because having done this will help you in your examination. Then, case study, evaluation component. Now, course plan, you've got up to number 5, which is next Saturday's class, and then you have the midterm exam. So midterm exam covers whatever we'll be doing up to the 8th of September. We close the midterm examination syllabus on 8th of September. What you do on the 9th of September is not in the syllabus. Yes, you need the book, you need the first textbook. Somebody asks, do we need the textbook? Yes, you need the first textbook for the midterm exam. It's a closed book exam, but you need to go through the textbook. That's the best place to learn the subject from. My priorities will be number 1, the textbook, number 2, the pre-recorded lectures, number 3, my contact sessions. My contact sessions are facilitation. Actually, we proceed with the course. The content of the course is primarily defined by the textbook as guided here and by the pre-recorded lectures. Of course, the contact sessions are also very much a part of the course. So, everybody's been asking about midterm exam. So, this is it. Up to contact session number 5. And after having these 5 contact sessions, I will be taking one full review session. All the doubts that I've got in your chat site and everything, put it together, and I'll be taking a review session. So that will be on either on Sunday or thereafter. I will take a look at the schedule where it's best to fit it in. One of the next few sessions after the Saturday will be a review session. So where we go through the syllabus. Now at this point, thereafter we go into post midterm, and then the end semester exam. The syllabus is the entire course, CS 1 to 11. So here there's only one review indicated here, but I intend to take another review session before the midterm exam. So that automatically makes the total number of sessions 12 instead of 11. And if we go further, if I feel that there's some case study or some other discussion, I wish to indulge with you further, or one of my co-faculty might take a session to show you how to use certain tools Okay. Okay. Now, what tools would be good for us to use? You know, Rational Rules is a good tool, but you have to buy it if your office has it. Very good. But for this course, I will suggest that you use Star UML. Star UML is a UML texting tool. It's not basically software architecture tool. Software architecture tools. I will not indulge in solving questions from the previous year in the class. This is something you will have to keep to yourself. I can clear the part of the subject which relates to the question. Now I'm coming to this part, the next part of my session. I'm just going to explain there's something very critical about a course like software architecture. It may not apply to many courses where you learn skills. This course is a little beyond learning skills, and I would like to talk about it in the context of software architecture itself. So I'm getting back to the page, and I come back to the session, and I proceed with the session before I tell you about it. Structures and views. Now, at this juncture, we have tried to tell you what is a structure and what's a view, and this is something we have covered earlier in the course, but I want to discuss what we've covered so far as a little bit of a review. We have covered the concept of software architecture. We've tried to understand what is software architecture, the concept that we are talking about, system of systems, their subsystems, interaction between elements, how you use resources. These are the type of things the software architect gets involved with. So, the software architecture involves structuring everything that makes up your system. You build up a structure. When you build up a structure, the structure has got to be presented through documents. And who's interested in the document? We bring up a and we have a concept called an architect. Everybody who in whatever form is involved with the architecture is a stakeholder. You may have the people who are paying for it, the people who are developing it, the people who will be using it, and people who will be tuning, maintaining, taking any decisions, procuring resources. Everybody is a stakeholder. Now, being able to present a structure, the architect thinks of something, and on what basis does he think of a structure? He understands the functional and non-functional requirements, and he understands the constraints. So, any system will have functional aspects. Functional. Let us take a system. If you have appeared for one of these examinations through Prometric, these are online assessment examinations where you have multiple choice questions. The examination appears to you through an appearance module. That's called an appearance module. And I'm not bothered about everything else that may have gone in to have that examination conducted. There will be a center, and there will be a module for the center's management. There will be an administrative management. There will be an academic setup. There will be modules meant for the academic people. There will be archives of questions. There will be current question banks. There will be question banks. There will be current appearance setups. There could be paper setter modules. There could be reviewers modules. So various applications must have been written to make this possible. Now, when all these are made possible, they are deployed on various hardware. There are various communication channels between these aspects. There's shared data storage, and some people find that I end up going a bit fast. It's become a habit. I'm sorry for going a little fast, but I hope I'm clearly hearable. That's important. You should be able to follow my words. I do go a bit fast. I'll try to pace myself down. Okay, yeah. Now what happens is, this is very similar to our course itself, and I want to bring out the similarity. Our course has got a functional aspect. Functional aspect is that there's a syllabus, there are examinations, there are marks. And a student is judged by the marks, very much as that examination is judged as to whether the questions appear on the screen or not? What are the questions? The person answers the question, which buttons are there? That's functional. Unfortunately, when I talk about functional, it's just not coherent elements in the view, but yes, you may be right. Functional is the actual flow of the application. What you used to write in your primary school as flow diagrams. You must have learned somewhere during class 10, 11, drawing of flow diagrams. Before you start writing your first program, they got you to write flow diagrams, and from a flow diagram you wrote a code. So basically, the logical flow of your application is what we talk about functionals, which is since you have progressed significantly by now in the object-oriented analysis course, what you'll put down in your use case text. Over there you've got use case diagrams, you've got use case text, then you've got your collaboration diagrams. So when all that you put into those diagrams is basically functionals. They are the functional aspects of your application. Now when you put down the functional aspects of your application, it's just like putting down the necessary requirement to appear for the exam and get an A grade. Unfortunately, functional is a basic requirement. Yes, a program which is meant for examination, the bare minimum required is the question should appear there, person should be able to answer it, and it should follow the logical flow that is required by the thing. So in a course also, this is the basic requirement. Now the same application developed by various companies, a fresher coming out of a training school in the city where they do some skill set training to teach you C# in 6 weeks, he can write that application. There's an engineer who has gone to one of the top engineering colleges in the country, maybe somewhere in Bangalore, Pune, Hyderabad, or one of the NITs or IITs or BITS or whatever it is. He also writes the code. The companies which you work for, they also write this code. Could be TCS, could be Wipro, CTS, Microsoft, Cisco, anybody, the works. Everybody writes a course. But when you write this code, the cost changes, the number of team members change. Then what changes? What changes is the architecture. What changes is the quality attributes, availability, performance, scalability, usability, maintainability, testability, the works. All these things change. And to make this change, there are superpower brains, people with years of experience putting in the knowledge and deciding where to deploy the data, what type of security infrastructure to have, what type of communication for the question papers, how will question bank be maintained. The works. It's a lot of work. And it's got nothing to do with the functionals. Functionals are the same. So with software architecture. So with this course. Unfortunately, it is very difficult to evaluate your architectural skills just in a 2 or 3 hours examination. There are students who come to me and you talk about something very basic about a subject. They say, sir, I'm not aware of it. I said, how come? It was in your course. They said, sir, it doesn't carry too many marks. And most people will not be able to answer, so we don't study. The problem is all these are the items which carry the maximum marks in the working field. So when you approach something from an examination point, very good, it's necessary. These are functionals. This is what you are in the course for. But the non-functionals are that you've got to develop yourself as an architect. And most of the requirement, the hard work which you have to put in goes beyond getting marks. Sometimes you may not get a few marks. For example, there could be some small functional error in a program, which will get corrected. There will be a feedback given and there will be a fix put in. But if there's a performance issue, if there's an availability issue, there's a security issue, you're not going to be just able to plug it. This is something the architect had to think of. You have to set up an infrastructure accordingly. and that is what I talk about even in this course. So my suggestion to you, my dear friends, is this course, software architecture, definitely is a major building block in your career, is going to take you places. So number one, please definitely read the textbook from cover to cover, whether in the course or not in the course, read it. Look at all the diagrams, sketch them on your own. These lectures which are available, you can see them on your mobile. Nowadays data is not very expensive in most parts of the country. The application called Moodle, M-O-O-D-L-E, I'm just typing on the spelling, M-O-O-D-L-E. I am sure Bits Pilani in some orientation has told you about it. You can download it on your mobile, whether it's an iPhone or an Android. I'm not sure about Windows, I've not tried it, but this can be downloaded. You give your user ID, password, and your URL for the site, the Taxila site, and you can view all these videos on your mobile. I'm not sure about the live contact session, but yeah, live contact. Yes, WebEx. Yes, WebEx is available. The live contact session, you can definitely watch it on your mobile. Yes. For that, you have to download WebEx. Using WebEx, but WebEx for mobile is available. So you download WebEx for mobile, and if I'm some of my participants are probably on mobile just now. Let me see. Yeah, I have a good number of participants here who are on mobile. Baba Khan, Abdul, Sameem, Amandeep Singh, Log, Dhyani, so a number of people. So well, it is very much possible. You can watch these sessions from your mobile. In fact, I personally attend some WebEx meetings by plugging on my mobile to the windscreen of my car. Now the holders, I don't know whether that's a traffic offense or not, but normally these phones are hooked on for navigation. I land up attending some WebEx meetings on that sometimes. I am an Android user. Somebody asked me whether I use iOS or Android. I am an Android user. I use Android. Okay. So, but well, somebody says how to watch recorded sessions on 8.1. Well, I'm a Windows 10. Getting hold of an 8. I'm sure WebEx should run. There's some WebEx conversions also available. I think the converter has been provided here. You have to do a conversion of the WebEx file. There's some format thing involved. Yeah. Okay. Somebody just switched over to mobile and joined in and very happy about it. Yeah. WebEx player has to be loaded. If you want to download these recorded sessions and watch them. I have not tried watching the recorded sessions on a mobile, must be possible. Moodle asks about site address. Okay, I'll show you the site address. Okay, let me take you to my desktop where you can see the site address. This is the site address. takshila.aws.bits-pilani.ac.in. I think this is the site address. Yeah, this is the site address. So Takshila minus AWS, the rest is the usual bits URL, bits-pilani.ac.in. There's a website of bits also, but you have to add to it Takshila minus AWS. So we have spent a lot of time today trying to get oriented into the course. I thought it was worth it because structures and views we have covered earlier also. We have enough time today, there's no problem. We are not pushed for time today. Okay, somebody tells me that in Takshila, that's in eLearn, the details are also given how to get onto a mobile. You must look through the pages on eLearn. eLearn is quite self-explanatory. Now let's get back to structures and views. So we've understood, we've done a quick review of the course. We have understood that there are quality attributes, we have understood there's an architect, we understood there are stakeholders, and then we have understood by now that there's something called architecture which is beyond the code. It's got to do with where the code is placed, how it is placed, what code comes to exist in the first place, which are the modules. These are the sort of things we decide. And these structures have got to be expressed through views. And we mentioned it earlier, and now we go through these things again. So we said there's the structure view. In structure view, you've got a module. In a structural view, you basically take up the system modules, the boxes, so to say, which are the units that make up the code. And sometimes we call them a module structure, sometimes we call it a module view. This language is used interchangeably, but let's remember, structure is what is, view is what you present. I have a feeling, I'm feeling good. Now, I've expressed it through English, so that's a view. I could have said that to Punjabi, in Punjabi, Hindi, Bengali. I could have just said this, I'm feeling good. So various ways of expression. These ways of expressions are views. The structure is what I feel inside. Unfortunately, you can only come to know about it through a view. So let's see architectural structures. We start with the module structure. We have gone through it earlier. We've got module structure, we've got component and connection structure, and we've got the allocation structure. There are three structures. Now we are going to break them up into individual substructures. In a module structure, the elements of a module structure are modules, and there are various types of modules. Each of these modules may consist of a bundle of code. It could be an object-oriented application. It could be a web service. It could be a Windows service. It could be a mobile app, a browser-based application, or a thick client application running on a Windows machine. All these are modules. Within an application, you may have various modules also. You may decide to take an application which is a mobile application, and you can have modules within that also. Now, each module will have a set of correlated functional responsibility. See, we always try to have a separation of concern. That is a very fundamental design consideration for any software architect or any analyst or designer. We try to separate concerns. So one thing, do one job. If you have a driver, his job should be drive a car. Cook should cook. That is the way we like to do it in application design. And each of these, we call it a module. So the functional responsibility of a module should be clear. What software elements it contains should be clear. Its relationship with other components should also be clear, like it's interacting with other software modules or non-software modules, hardware modules also. Then there's a concept which you have learned in object-oriented programming. It's called generalization specialization. And I will express generalization specialization through maths. Here, I'm just going to type. I'm typing up here xy plus xz. When I typed xy plus xz, and if you are not getting it, I think it's Control Shift Y. Now these are two modules. The first module is capable of doing xy job, and the second module is capable of doing x and z job. So what I can do is I can take x outside the bracket and I say y plus z. So I put x outside the bracket, and inside the bracket I say y plus z. So this taking x outside the bracket is in software design terminology what we call generalization. You take generalization outside, and Yeah, you can't see, you do Control Shift Y. No, even in architecture time we do this one. I'll explain to you with an example. Do Shift Control Y, you'll be able to see it. Let me see, that is the key combination. Yeah, Control Shift Y. If you press Control Shift and Y, it'll get ready. Yeah, now people are telling me that they are being able to see it. So now let's take a hardware module that you want to read data from a database, and you've got a number of applications which need to read data from a database. So in each application, you could have the component required for reading data from database, or you could develop that as a service. Accessing data from database, the various types of access required, make a list, write a service module, deploy it on a server, that becomes generalization. Now all applications are expected to go to that generalized module and pick up the data from the database. So here's an example of module structure in software architecture. This is not in design. The architect took a decision that we will deploy it like this. We will have a service layer. The functionality of the service will be only to access data from database. We'll deploy it on a server and make it available, maybe from multiple databases, however it does it. So anything which is common between various modules, you will generalize. Going a little outside software, say you've got a stereo system, and you've got a television, you've got stereo, you've got a CD player. Each one could have its own speakers, but then that will be cluttering of too many speakers. So you have one set of speakers, and you have a box which an aggregator, a multiplexer, which receives inputs from all of them and feeds it, or you may have a common amplifier itself. So the amplifier can take inputs from all the units and push it into the speaker. So that's a generalization. Anything that is common shifted into a separate module, a unit, is called generalization. And then obviously a CD player cannot read a tape, it cannot read a pen drive. So you'll have to have a point for reading a pen drive. You may have different file formats, you might have to write separate applications for each of them. So that would be specialization. So the generalization module is the reusable module, you reuse it. In class structure also you've got specialization, generalization. See, the theories are the same. Object-oriented design theories which you learn in object-oriented design are 100% applicable in software architecture. So the thing is, the working is at a different level. In design, you're mostly working on the functional, on the code, whereas in architecture, you work on structures of structures. But all your analysis artifacts which you use in object-oriented analysis and design do get used in software architecture. Only in this course, I'm not duplicating the study. In many universities, you will study all the artifacts of UML under software architecture again. But since we have a separate course on object-oriented analysis and design, and there's so much to cover, we do not duplicate that knowledge. Even from an examination point of view, we'll normally, there's no but definitely I lead that panel. We will normally not give an extreme question on the design artifacts. That means on use case text, but a little bit of involvement does come in. Okay, so then let's move forward. We have components and connectors. Components and connectors have got to do more with runtime. Boxes, the same boxes could be, which are there in the module structure. They become available now at runtime. Okay, I'm just going to take a small break now. I'll continue exactly where I'm leaving on this now.